Well, I wanted to get this video out before Fallout Season 2. As Season 2 is going to be taking place in New Vegas, I was like, yeah, I better get a video out about New Vegas. So I have done a playthrough of all 4 faction endings, and I'm going to be talking about the game and reviewing the game. And years ago, I played my Yes Man ending, so I'll let the old version of me do the talking for that one, and when that wraps up, then present day me will return and talk about the Caesar run, my Mr. House run, and then I had the big run where I did all the DLCs and all the other things, and that was my NCR run. So I'll be talking about all that too when the old me shuts the fuck up. I was going to do my new run on the PC, but my files kept corrupting, and the bugginess was insane. So I went to my Xbox version. All of them are just vanilla Xbox version playthroughs on normal difficulty. But before we jump into my old review of the Yes Man run, here is a quick clip of how great the PC version is. Fallout New Vegas is a spin-off game by Obsidian, and it starts off with you getting shot in the head because you were delivering some sort of chip. And this leads directly into character creation. Here we got Doc Mitchell. He's a fantastic character, and he claims to have fixed us up. Then, just like in Fallout 3, to choose your stats, you have to interact with the world. That's always going to be a really cool way to choose your stats. Some of the biggest differences are perks. You don't get perks after every level up, and only some level ups. Also, Fallout 3 is really green, like the Matrix, and Fallout New Vegas is kinda yellow, like Magic Mike in all the scenes where he's not dancing, or Breaking Bad every time they're in Mexico. It's just really yellow, and what you wear matters. There are factions, and some people might like or dislike you depending on if you're wearing the clothes of their faction. I really liked this NCR Ranger outfit, but sadly I didn't wear it much because I wasn't part of the NCR and didn't want to be, and also the NCR just straight up wanted me dead.
Never mind. Don't care. You've got 2 more days to deal with your bad NCR reputation. Make them happy, or we'll make you dead.
Which is another really cool thing here. People have feelings towards you based on your actions, and that is awesome. So the first town we're in is being attacked, and we already can help, or not help. I decided to help the town and fight off the powder gangers, and this causes the town to love me. But the powder gangers, no they hate me. They want me dead. It's this kind of thing it introduces you to early, and it makes for a ton of replayability. Now, it's not just me who's going on these quests. I do have a partner, Rex. Rex belongs to a gang of men who are Elvis impersonators, and this gang is honestly one I spent a lot of time with. But my favorite thing from this gang is Rex. He's a robot dog, part dog, but like with a bunch of handicaps. King gives us Rex, and he's my companion for the whole game. We take him down to Jacobstown, which is a home. I didn't mean to make that rhyme. We go here to take care of him and get him fixed, because he needs a new brain. Now, is he the same dog now that he has a new brain? In my opinion, I don't think so. I think this is more like the death of King's Rex and the birth of my dog Rex. Rex is as good a boy as any. He's a top-notch companion. He isn't even buggy in any way whatsoever. Just a perfect boy.
I don't think that's what they mean by doggy style.
And you know what's even cooler? Shortly after finishing this game, we got a dog in real life. His name's Barry, and just like Rex, he also has a handicap. Poor thing, he's only got 3 legs. But I love him so enormously much. In fact, taking a quick pause from this, let's just look at Barry and how cute he is. He's absolutely adorable. I love this pup. There was also this one quest where This human thought he was a ghoul just because he was with a bunch of ghouls, despite him not being a ghoul. And well, I thought maybe they convinced him he was a ghoul. They told him he isn't a ghoul, and he just doesn't understand. He works for this bright, glowing ghoul named Jason, who asks us to help him launch him and all the other ghouls in a rocket. Jesus Christ, how many times am I going to say ghoul? This is basically just some side shit I wanted to talk about before we get to the meat and potatoes of the main quest. Another thing I found cool was all the sexuality. Well, of course, it would be here, right? Because this is basically apocalyptic Vegas. It's just really nice, because it doesn't seem like that exists in many games, and I'm asexual. I don't care about that shit. I just think it makes the world more complete and gets me into the game more when NPCs have feelings and wants and desires and aren't just there for exposition, trading, and to be killed. They even go deeper than the surface level, not too far, but a little bit. They go into fetish and kinks, and there's a ghoul dominatrix. Like, how cool is that? Anyway, I just appreciate that the characters here in New Vegas have more depth to them than in most games. I joined the Brotherhood, who isn't like the Fallout 3 Brotherhood. They're not out patrolling and killing super mutants. This Brotherhood is just like hiding away from society, but I mainly joined them because I wanted power armor. Another interesting thing is there's like this credit check to get in New Vegas. You gotta have the coin to get in. I think it's like 2,000 caps or something like that. But not only is it an interesting way to make sure you've played a lot of the game before you go in, but it's like this neat storytelling device to be like, hey, we don't let poor people in here. And even once you're inside, people still have personalities too. There's some random girls dancing in a fountain, and these fucking RoboCops of the land show up.
Wanna dance?
It's
Come
the
on.
law, girls. Are you going to spank us?
And then there's acts where you can not just like gather them, but you can also watch them. I watched this dude's stand-up comedy, and let me tell ya, ay.
I bought my wife a little car here in New Vegas, an Omerta. It has a hood under the hood. Ay. I take my wife everywhere, but somehow she keeps finding her way back. I did it! A ghoul goes to a doctor and says, Doctor, I have this horrible rash. The doctor says, son, that's called your face. Ding dong. My wife and I know the secret to a happy marriage. 2 times a week, we go to a nice restaurant. She goes Mondays, I go Fridays. I've been married for 17 years. Where did I go wrong? Oh!
It seems that the territories are about to blow up.
this crazy scene or what? Ring a ding, baby.
Now this being a Bethesda game means it's buggy. Hold on. This isn't a Bethesda game. This is an Obsidian game. Okay, well, it's still just as buggy. And there are a lot of things that can take you out of it. But for the most part, there is just a lot of life and personality to this game. And while I don't find the quests to be as epic as Fallout 3's, that's okay, because this is a spin-off game, and I dare say it has more personality than Fallout 3. I actually like this one more than Fallout 3, but I love them both. Okay, so I guess I should actually start talking about the main story. The main story is twofold. Thing 1 is getting your special chip back that you were carrying when you got shot. Thing 2 is choosing who will be running New Vegas.
What in the goddamn?
Now we meet Benny, the guy who stole our chip, and Benny sets up a trap and runs off to hide with Caesar. We also meet Yes Man, a computer who's one of the many options of characters we can have run New Vegas. Yes Man says yes to most things and has no critical thinking skills. He also misinterprets much of the things you say. Then there is Caesar, who Benny ran off with. Caesar runs a camp and wants things to go back to the way of ancient Rome. They have swords, they crucify, they have slavery, and they're just cruel as fuck. But they have order, I guess? I don't know. There's nothing about them that makes me want to side with them. Their leader Caesar has cancer, but like, I can't even feel bad. Like, good. If the cancer don't kill him, I will. Then we got Mr. House. When we were revived, this very strange and creepy robot named Victor wanted us to meet Mr. House. So upon meeting Mr. House, we find out he controls New Vegas, and he's just kind of in charge. Although it seems like the NCR is also kind of... But back to Mr. House, he's kept his body alive far longer than he should be able to, and he mainly speaks through this computer version of himself. He also has many bots, including bots that, like, sexually service him somehow.
Mr. House has a lot of needs, sugar. I take care of all of them, and a lady doesn't kiss and tell.
Mr. House explains he was the one who hired you to get the chip and demands you go get it. He also seems really old-fashioned to me, like a guy who would have enjoyed the time before women could vote kind of guy. He wants the chip as it can do a lot of things for him, including making him more powerful. But when I ask him questions on it, and also on the super low payment he offered, despite the amount of work I done, he gets really angry and threatening. I felt like Mr. House was the safest option. I mean, he was already running the town. People already liked him, things were already going okay. But no, after he threatened me and acted that way, I decided, he's not getting that chip. Besides, I didn't like him anyway, so...
By the time I was 30 years old, I was a billionaire 30 times over. I founded and ran a vast economic empire. Do you really think I'm going to let an upstart come into my home and ransom my property to me? I spent 2 centuries searching for the platinum chip. It's my invention, my property, mine! Now be a good courier and deliver it!
I even found his real body hidden away and I straight up murdered him. And yes, I have no idea where my character morality lies. He just don't like being threatened. So with Mr. House dead and Caesar not even an option for me, I chose Yes Man. Is this a good choice? I don't know that there is a good choice. I think this is the lesser of the evils, maybe. He then shows me upgrades on the robots that we have, and I immediately feel like intimidated by the choice I just made.
So you're familiar with Securitrons by now, obviously. I mean, some of your best friends are Securitrons, right? Our titanium alloy housing does a good job of protecting our delicate electronic implants from small arms and our left arm contains an X-25 Gatling laser, quite deadly against off-target immediate range. That looks like fun. And for close-range suppression and crowd control, we have handy-dandy 9mm submachine gun knives. All of this is old hat, right? Here is where it gets interesting. Turns out that those are our secondary weapons. All this time we've been running the Mark I operating system, which doesn't have drivers for our primary weapons. Imagine! Now watch this. I'm downloading the Mark II OS to all Securitrons on the network. Makes quite a difference. With the M235 missile launcher, we can engage ground and air targets. And a rapid-fire system that makes us deadly in close-range engagements. Woo! Look at that!
Hey, it's not Caesar, and that's what matters. All the police bots end up becoming these military bots, and I really do love how much your actions matter. I give Yes Man the chip and prepare to start the final battle. So I start this final mission, which is sad because I didn't quite realize this was the final mission. I thought I could leave the main world map, but I could return after the quest. I didn't realize this was end of the game. Like, I guess I was dumb because it was telling me, but I don't know, there's other games where it tells me stuff like that, and I just could come back. I didn't realize. I was stupid, okay? So off we go to fight the Legion and other smaller factions who joined them. And while I did a good job with that, I met the final boss and then I got cocky. I told him I'd kick his ass, to which he repeatedly killed me over and over and over and over and over again. My level was just too damn low. and I should not have been at the final battle yet. So he killed me over and over, and I tried my best to cheese him, but he was just too damn strong. Plus there's a whole fucking army you're fighting too, and it's just me and Rex against a whole army? So it literally took like almost 3 hours. But at last I was able to beat him through some well-placed sniper shots before the battle started. But lesson learned, do not go into the final battle with a low level. I recommend like level 20 or something. Shit. Anyway, I killed him, I took his helmet, then the NCR showed up, and after having bad relations with them all game, I pulled this one off and had the robots kill him.
Figured as much.
You did a super job wrapping things up, and I'm not just saying that because I have to. I didn't want to make a big deal about this until after we won, but, well, I found some code snippets in one of Mr. House's databanks that will let me, reprogram my personality to be a little more assertive, basically. So that's what I'm going to be doing, and it's going to take me a while, so it'll seem like I'm offline. But don't worry. Everything will be okay.
Alright, it's new present day Michael here, so something to mention is yes man ending leads to chaos. When it talks about the ending, it hammers home that everything went chaotically. Basically no government and all that, which is wild, because that's not really what I chose. In my mind, the Yes Man ending is basically the Mr. House ending, but now Yes Man and I are in charge. But that's not how the game treats it, despite how it presents it to you. So while I do think the Yes Man ending would be best if the game treated it how it presented it to me, with how it is, it's not the best. So I did a playthrough of those other endings too, starting with Caesar. Of all the endings, I feel like you could argue this one's the best, or this one's the best, or this one's the best, and I could see your point and agree with you, except for Caesar. Caesar's just straight up the bad ending. I can't see an argument for that. And doing a playthrough of his ending meant I just had to be an awful, terrible human being. I made a melee build, high charisma for this one, mainly so I could wield a sword. Now Caesar's Legion actually does use guns and such. I just took it a step further to be even closer to ancient Rome by using like swords and whatnot. And my methods were brutal. I'm gonna say the melee has a lot going for it. You can definitely do a good melee run. I took this knockdown perk that made enemies fall over, and then I could get a bunch of extra hits without them doing anything before they got up. And that really just devastated, like, everyone. So Caesar's Legion crucifies people. They are slavers, and women can't join their ranks of football pad wearing poor cosplayers. They slaughter people and force them to convert to their ranks and destroy their culture. And they are led by a man calling himself Caesar, although they call him Kaiser. Basically, I think the thing behind that is, like, when history is lost, we don't actually know how certain things are pronounced, you know? So, in this thing, I think some people call him Caesar, some people call him Kaiser. He's calling himself Kaiser. He's an idiot of a man with cancer in his head and a robot to fix him, despite him not allowing that kind of treatment for anyone else. He is surrounded by yes men who don't question his stupidity, and the quests we do for the Legion is usually just murder with a lot of the worst rewards in the game. There's actually fairly little content for the Caesar's run I had. I knew this was going to be my least favorite playthrough anyway, just hopping in. Just because, well, I don't mind role-playing a bad guy. Sometimes I really enjoy it. There is a difference between a bad guy and an unredeemable sack of shit. I usually try to have, like, reasons why I can justify the badness, right? Where I'm like, okay, well, he did that because of this. But with Caesar's Legion, like, why are we joining Caesar's Legion? Just, we have to just be an unredeemable piece of shit. That's really it. There was an arena though, so that's cool. You know I'm a sucker for arenas. It's pretty half-baked though, but it's still cool. There was 3 fights and then it was over. You kill a lot of people for Caesar, including House and the president of the NCR, and then the Battle of Hoover Dam happens. Caesar wins. This is kind of bad for everyone, really. On to the next playthrough. So Mr. House is the next one, and for this one I was more of a gunslinger good with computers and repair. Now the Mr. House playthrough is honestly basically the same as the Yes Man playthrough. Biggest difference is you work for House instead of Yes Man. And this has negatives and positives. The negatives is House, a selfish, greedy man who is an asshat that I guess, you know, he does have positives. Because House is kind of a better choice for leadership. Like, he arguably would be good for the economy of New Vegas and the protection of New Vegas. Now that still kind of means non-New Vegas and NCR will get a raw deal, but unlike Kaiser and apparently Yes Man, not everyone suffers from his leadership, and some people are better off. Definitely not all, but some people, which is better than the other two. Well, I guess, no, I don't even think Kaiser's people are better off under the leadership of Kaiser. I think they'd be better off under anyone else's leadership. Just like Yes Man, you help him gain allies and remove enemies, and just like Yes Man, the Securitrons get upgraded to have rockets and such. So House plays better than other factions, and that's something to keep in mind. And he also gives you the really nice Lucky 38 setup, and it's probably the smoothest pad you can get in the land. His ending has you fight Legion on Hoover Dam. It's the same as the Yes Man. A lot of these endings and missions all tie into each other. So, like, while you are doing different playthroughs, you will see the same, like, missions over and over and over again. You'll just be doing it for different reasons, if that makes sense. Now, before I give you my big and very long NCR playthrough, where I also did the DLCs, let me show you this scene of eyeballs. I saved this and I didn't know what to do with it. So for my NCR run, I'm also doing a lot more, not just DLCs, but also I'm going to have some companions. I just want to get a lot out of the game on my final playthrough. Something to note about NCR is, well, they are all over. They are stretched so thin that they aren't helpful at the places they already are. And so places that could use help are not getting it. One such place we went to, we met someone who won the lottery.
Yeah! Who won the lottery? I did! Smell that air! Couldn't you just drink it like booze?
Now this is a different kind of lottery. This is Caesar's Legion lottery, where the winner lives to go free. Second place gets to live, but has their legs broken by hammers, and all the rest are crucified or sold into slavery. So I killed the Legion who did it. I mercifully put down the men on the cross, and with the NCR being stretched too tight, I had to nominate myself as the new sheriff of the Mojave because they weren't going to do anything. So I went out and I killed the people who were taking the slaves away, and then I went on traveling. I'm just gonna be taking care of everybody since the NCR can't. Shortly later, we met our first companion, Boone. Now, Boone isn't much of a people person. His wife was taken by Caesar's Legion and killed. And after some investigation, I find out who sold his wife off, and I bring her in front of the dino statue for Boone to assassinate. This is also the dino statue that we saw at the Fallout New Vegas trailer, so I just wanted to point that out. Boone was an NCR ranger who did some shitty things in the past, and he isn't sure he can be made to feel like a good guy again. But the one thing that makes him feel better is killing Caesar's Legion, and I'm all for that. So we go off, not just killing Caesar's Legion, but even raiding Caesar's camp and killing him there. Now Caesar may be dead, but his legion lives on. It still feels very good though to have him dead, and Boone tells me that actually it was him who killed his wife. You see, he saw her captured as a slave of Caesar's legion, and there was too many men for him to take on. So rather than have her live through hell, he did a mercy kill and shot his wife, which I find really honorable, to be honest. In my book, Boone is still a good guy. I'm not even exaggerating saying Caesar's Legion is the scum of the earth. Like, just listening to them speak is sickening. Listen to what this dude was saying back at the NCR base.
I was just thinking about that pretty neck of yours.
How sweet.
I was thinking about how it would look with a Legion slave collar on it.
I'll pass.
Do you know what I love about our slave collars, Lieutenant?
If you love them, maybe you should try one on.
I love how tightly they fit. I train my men to make sure the slave's flesh bulges a bit around the top and bottom. Know why?
It's all the rage in fashion circles?
Not quite. If you fit it just right, their body never gets used to the feeling of wearing it. It cuts in just enough when they swallow or turn their head to remind them who they belong to.
Anyway, I tell Boone to go to the Lucky 38 and wait there, because I'm going to go do a little DLC now. But before we do, I have a little something from Gage.
Hey everyone, it's Gage here, and today instead of my usual lore dump, I'm here to talk about the most overlooked and underrated money-making strategy in Fallout New Vegas, Caravan. Most players know they can potentially make quite a bit of money gambling at the various in-game casinos, but all casino games take your character's luck stat into account, meaning these games require a significant investment of your limited special points to consistently win anything. And each casino will eventually permanently ban the player after too much has been won. Conversely, Caravan is an actual game of skill where your special stats have no effect on the outcome, and you will always find at least one NPC willing to play and gamble with you, making Caravan a consistent moneymaker for any character for an entire playthrough. To play Caravan, you must acquire at least 30 cards. The easiest way to do this is to save Ringo from the Powder Gangers in Goodsprings, after which he can give you an almost complete tops deck, but additional cards can be found throughout the world or purchased from merchants. To begin, first you'll have to select at least 30 cards to use as your deck. Duplicate cards are allowed as long as they are not from the same deck style, so a tops King of Diamonds could be used alongside a King of Diamonds from any other deck, but 2 Kings of Diamonds from the tops deck would be illegal. The objective of Caravan is simple. You and your opponent each build 3 caravans or stacks of cards, with the goal of adding up cards in each of your own caravans to total between 21 and 26, with 26 being the best possible score, while preventing your opponent from doing the same with their own caravans. Number cards are played on your own caravans, and their values are added together to determine the total value of that caravan. Aces are considered a number card with a value of 1. Your first 2 number cards on a caravan can be of any value and suit. But after that, to play a number card on a caravan, it must either be of the same suit of the most recent card in the caravan, or follow the pattern of ascending or descending in that caravan. If the most recent card on a caravan is of a higher value than the card before it, that caravan is ascending, and your next card must be of a higher value if it is not of the same suit. If the most recent card is of a lower value than the one before it, the caravan is descending. and your next card must be of a lower value unless it is of the same suit. For this reason, I recommend comprising your decks of number cards from only 2 suits, and starting your caravans with very high or low cards to increase your chances of having a playable card. Unlike number cards, which are played on your caravans, face cards are played directly on a specific card, anywhere within you or your opponent's caravans. Aside from that, there are no restrictions to where a face card can be placed, so you needn't worry about their suit. Each face card has a unique effect. A jack will remove the number card it is played on, so it can be used to remove cards from an opponent's caravan, or reduce the value of your own if you have somehow gotten it to a value of greater than 26. A queen is playable on the most recent card of any caravan and changes the suit of the card it's played on to that of the queen and reverses the order of ascending or descending. Can't play a card on a caravan because the last card on it was a 10 and you can't ascend further? Slap a queen on it and now it's descending. A king will double the value of any card it is played on, and multiple kings played on the same card stack multiplicatively, so a 10 with 2 kings on it will have a value of 40. Jokers are perhaps the weirdest card, and they function similar to a reverse jack. Playing a joker on a number card does not remove the card it is played on, but it does remove every other card of that value from every caravan of both players. The one exception to this are aces. If a joker is played on an ace, rather than every other ace being removed, every other card of that ace's suit is removed instead. If you intend to use jokers in your deck, it could be worth including aces of suits you don't otherwise use to set up this effect against your opponent. Of the caravans opposite each other, the game will continue until at least one player has a caravan within the acceptable range in each set of opposing caravans, and the player with the better score within the majority of these wins. I know all of this sounds super complicated on paper, and that's what scares off most players from ever trying Caravan. But even if you don't remember all the rules, remember that you'll be playing against early 2010s NPCs who don't really strategize at all. So as long as you can remember how a few of the cards work and try to make your caravans add up to 26, you're going to win more often than not. Now you know how to play, but who should you play with? Many NPCs will be willing to play, but most of them have a limit to how many games they will play with you, after which they will never play Caravan with you again. For this reason, I recommend raising the starting bid to the highest amount your opponent can bet, and only playing with most of them once per in-game week, to allow their inventory to refresh to make sure you can squeeze everyone for as many caps as possible. If your opponent is a merchant, it can also be worth buying something from them before playing, since you can simply win your caps back and basically get the item you purchased for free or for a heavy discount. However, there is at least one NPC who will never tire of losing his life savings to you, and you can play with him as often as you like. Ladies and gentlemen, this is No Bark Noonan. Watch for booby traps if you decide to enter his shack in Novak, but playing Caravan with this guy can basically bankroll your entire playthrough of Fallout New Vegas. I have no idea how this seemingly unemployed insane person makes so much money every week, but I can only assume that gambling with me is the only thing preventing him from becoming wealthy enough to pose a serious threat to the wasteland. Anyways, you should now know the basics of Caravan and how to maximize the caps you make from it, so I'll hand the mic back to Michael.
Now, the DLCs can be done in any order. The recommended order is the order they came out, which is not what I did. You see, they have a level requirement, so that's what I was doing. I basically did the lowest level requirement to the highest, which I think is fine. Really the most important thing is that you do Long Road at the end, no matter what. That is the one that belongs at the end. Now that I have played it in that order, I do think the recommended order is what you should play it as, and not in the order I played it as. Still, I think the way I did was probably fine. So that means Honest Hearts was the first one I did, which sees you traveling with a caravan in some canyons, and then the caravan is killed off by a tribe known as the Whitelegs. Now, the Whitelegs are attacking everyone and trying to take over this land so that Caesar will accept them into his ranks. It is here we meet the leaders of the two other tribes, Joshua Graham, leader of the Dead Horses, Joshua was once a Mormon missionary who ended up being the second in command of Caesar's legion. He did a lot of atrocities under Caesar, and after failing a mission, Caesar burned him and threw him off a cliff, to which Joshua somehow did not die. He is back, and he is a changed man, wrapped in bandages, baptized in both fire and water. Joshua is a little crazy in my opinion, a bit nutty on the religious side, however, he does want what's best for his people. Also, we can tell him we killed Caesar.
I have to admit, it's hard to believe that even after all he did to me, all he tried to do to find and erase me from this world, he went first. No doubt this will be good for the Mojave. I can only hope Arizona and the tribes don't suffer as the Legion falls apart around them.
We also have Daniel, who is a Mormon missionary. Daniel is with a tribe known as the Sorrows, and both of them have to deal with the incoming issue of the Whitelegs coming to kill their people. But both have two very different opinions on how to do it. Daniel believes they should run away and let the Whitelegs have the land. That way no people get hurt, and the Sorrows, who are not warriors, will not lose their innocence to violence. Joshua believes, no, we gotta stay and fight the Whitelegs. And while I do see where Daniel is coming from, there are a few factors that make me far more on Joshua's side. The Whitelegs not only have killed tribes before, but this isn't about land, this is about killing you for Caesar's approval. Leaving would only make them follow you to the next area. And why leave your home when you don't need to? Obviously, my ideal situation would be to talk about things, work it out peacefully, and all that, but there are issues with that as well. The Whitelegs don't speak our language, and they aren't willing to talk, and they kill on sight. Just breaking it down, if someone breaks into my house, my first thought isn't to just leave and move into a different house. No, I obviously try to defend me and my house. So, flee or fight are really our only options, and we pick to fight. We take out the Whitelegs, and that ends Honest Hearts. Back to the base game, our next companion is Cass. Cass is pretty cool and used to run caravans until some shady shit went down. So we help her investigate it, and we take out those responsible. What makes Cass great is not just her personality, but she explains things in a way I can understand.
Nobody's dick's that long. Not even Long Dick Johnson, and he had a fucking long dick. Thus the name.
I really enjoy having her around, but I end up sending her to the Lucky 38 because I'm off to do another DLC. Old World Blues is quite the ride of silliness. Fallout has always had its silliness, and I've always been in the camp of I prefer more dark and more grounded Fallout, but I don't mind the silliness usually. There are a couple times it goes too far to me. This is one of those times. This whole DLC. Now, for those who enjoy the silliness, this one is so for you, and I'm not saying it's bad, I'm just saying this is not a DLC for me. What I will say is that the beginning is objectively bad, actually, though. The computer guys that you talk to yap on for over 20 minutes starting the DLC. You just sit there and you listen to them yap, and I don't mean you're learning a lot. This could be so much shorter, but no, they really are yapping. A lot of this is filler of their yapping. So here's the premise. Once there was a place called Big Mountain where 6 brilliant scientists worked. These scientists gave up their bodies and are now brains inside robots so they could give up their more human weaknesses. After the war and over time, and because of the way it's spelled, Big Mountain became Big Empty. And here they capture people and animals of all sorts and do various experiments on them, including lobotomizing. And it turns out they have taken away your spine, your heart, and your brain. The only reason you still function is because you have some Tesla coils where your brain used to be that communicate through your brain, which is somewhere else in the facility, to where you are. Except actually not really, because at one point you meet your brain and you argue with your brain because it doesn't want to go back in your body. But who is your brain arguing with if not itself, if it is indeed still communicating with you? Anyway, these 5 scientists want you to be collecting things to defeat Dr. Mobius, the 6th scientist who is evil. Sort of. To be honest, it turns out everyone's actually evil and the absolute worst and crazy. All in their own way, but they're all terrible, terrible people. And the missions are quite repetitive, including this one, simulating a school, which you have to do 4 times to beat it. And it's stupid, and I hated this. I hated playing this, I hated the missions, I hated this entire DLC. I know it's a fan favorite, and it's crazy, and I hated it. I killed all of them, and I left with some good gear and good perks, honestly. They're good stuff. And then something weird happened. It was over, and I couldn't stop thinking about it. You see, while it was really dumb and silly, and there was just slogs of jokes and repetitive, unfun gameplay, there was something special there, something underlying. These scientists did so much to fight against their humanity, but even in becoming not human, they still were flawed, needing and wanting their humanity back. In a way, they are still human while not being in their bodies. These were awful people, and part of them leaving being human meant losing the memories of some of what they did. There was this flicker there when I asked one guy about his dog that he used to abuse, and another flicker when one began remembering things like sex and feeling. There is an inherent sadness. Well, the new radio station plays the song Begin Again. A beautiful, haunting song we will talk about later, but a song that makes you see how much there is here, but also how little. The Big Empty truly does fit the name of this place. It's a strange time capsule of bad people who are senile as shit and have nothing but each other. I found myself enjoying thinking about this and discussing this DLC far more than I did playing it. I hated playing it. And I just wish there was far less jokes and more of that underlying stuff being pushed more towards the surface. But anyway, back to the base game.
You're my best friend forever.
Back to the base game, I tried out a few new companions. There was Arcade Ganon, a man I found out very little about before benching him. There was Lily, a nightkin with multiple personalities who believed herself to be a grandma, and she seemed very interesting, but her quest broke and she permanently was helping the doctor of Jacobstown, and I couldn't get her to stop. But then these next two became big favorites of mine. We have Rex the dog, who I've already had before, but we've talked about him. Fantastic. And Veronica of the Brotherhood of Steel. Now, this is regarding the Mojave Brotherhood of Steel. A while back, this Brotherhood and the NCR got into a battle over at a place called Helios 1. The NCR ended up winning the battle, and the Brotherhood has been hiding in a bunker ever since. They aren't recruiting. They're not growing stronger. These aren't the Brotherhood you know. These are people living in lockdown underground. Veronica is one of the people they send to go get supplies for them so they can stay in lockdown. And Veronica is cool and something special. There's something about her where I feel like she looks up to me, almost like having a mentor. And I've kind of been treating her like she's my little sister or something. She even asked for a dress, and I get her a dress, but the game wasn't programmed for her to put it on, so she just thanks me, and then it feels like when you give someone a gift they don't actually like it, so they thank you, but then you know they're not going to use it. That's what it felt like. I gave her the gift and she's like, wow, thank you, and then it's gone, which is bullshit. I wanted to be able to see her put on the dress, because that's what she wanted. She got a dress, I gave her a dress. Now she can't wear a dress. Anyway, Veronica is a lesbian who lost both her girlfriend and her mentor, Father Elijah. And based on how the Brotherhood acts, we might be one of her closest friends. And I really enjoy having her around. Her and Rex, who I almost accidentally killed by setting off a trap. We convinced various groups to join the NCR for this upcoming battle against Caesar's Legion. Also, we met Marcus from Fallout 2, so that's cool. He isn't a companion in this one, but it's still cool that he's here. Before we move on to the next DLC, let me explain about something I did. I took a perk that makes enemies explode if I use energy weapons. And well, that is great for if they're all by each other. I would never take it again, because I was often hurting myself and my allies with it. Our next DLC is Dead Money. Rex and Veronica go back to the Lucky 38 and we go off to the Sierra Madre Casino for untold riches. But then we are knocked out and woken back up. A bomb collar has been attached to us, and there before us is Father Elijah, Veronica's old mentor. He wants to get into this casino, but those who try either die or try to leave him behind. So, now we don't have a choice. We have to follow his orders and figure out what to do or our bomb collars will go off. There's 3 companions, and we have to work with them, because our collars are all linked. If one dies, everyone else dies. The first is a large super mutant with multiple personalities. One is God, he is the smart one who cares for himself, and the other is Dog. Dog is the warrior loyal to his master, Father Elijah. God doesn't like it when he turns back into Dog, and I agree to not do that to him, and then he constantly threatens me, and he's always an asshat. Our next companion is Dean Domino, a famous singer who was planning to rob the casino on its grand opening, but the bombs dropped on opening night, so it's been sitting there unopened since. Dean Domino is a fuck who already had money. He already had these riches. He was simply trying to steal from the casino vault because he didn't like Sinclair, the guy who owns the casino. By this point, Sinclair's super dead, but Dean Domino is still trying to screw him over even while he's dead. And last off is Christina. She can't really talk right now, but through a lot of guessing at what she's saying, we learn a few more things. And as we learn more and more, she becomes incredibly interesting to me. It turns out this is Veronica's long-lost girlfriend who has been hunting Father Elijah. She's all scarred up from her time captured at the Big Empty. She got all caught up and parts of her mind don't work too well. And then from being trapped in an auto dock, parts of her throat also don't work too well. So she's just really destroyed. But a courier rescued her when she was back at the Big Empty. A different courier than us. One who apparently has worked with the White Legs and Caesar's Legion. And he keeps getting mentioned over and over again. It's very interesting. And unlike Dean or God, I actually enjoy having Christina around. Now the game here is very different. There's lots of traps to watch out for, which due to the light step perk I have, I didn't have to do that. There's also very limited ammo, which due to having a high enough skill in unarmed was also not an issue for me. I honestly negated 2 big parts of it off the bat that make this game turn into a survival horror, and I'm kinda glad I did, to be honest. Those aren't my style of games. I've seen lots of people complain about this DLC and its gameplay, and I agree it is a slog. But goddamn, I think my playthrough went a lot better than most people's because of the perk and the unarmed ability I had. Now I still had to deal with other issues like poison gas and the bomb collar exploding if we're by a radio too long, and long tedious sluggishness of level design. So while I didn't love the gameplay, I was probably having more fun here than I was at Old World Blues. A lot of the enemies you fight are called ghosts. They are maintenance workers who came to work on the cloud of poison gas, but something happened and their suits corroded and they are zombie-like monsters now. And you can't just kill them, you gotta get rid of their limbs or head. Another enemy is holograms, which can't be killed except by destroying the device that emits them. At last we get into the casino and we have to go through it and deal with our old companions. God and Dog I beat by combining their minds into one person, so they didn't have that disorder anymore. Dean Domino, I beat by shooting him in the head. And Christine, I don't have to beat. She's already on my side, and she managed to get a voice now. Kind of. It's not hers. She has the voice of Vera Keys. She went into an auto dock, and it actually fixed her this time instead of unwillingly working on her. But yeah, Vera Keys is who this whole casino was for. Sinclair made the casino, and he was madly in love with her. And Dean Domino was using her to get to the vault. And because she was hooked on drugs, she didn't want to not follow Dean's plan, but she realized how much Sinclair loved her. So she ended up telling him what was up. She told him everything she knew, and apparently Sinclair already knew. He had already set up the trap. But now he knew Vera wasn't going through with it, so he deactivated the trap for her, but kept Dean Domino's on. And she ended up dying in the casino he built for her. All of this was for her. He loved her to the point of a wild obsession, and her and the other guests in this casino ended up dying. She was the singer of the Begin Again song, the one I was listening to in the Big Empty. After that, Christine is staying behind to become the guardian of the Sierra Madre, and this sucks, because I want her to go with me. So I go downstairs, I grab what gold I can carry, which isn't a lot, and I fight Father Elijah and kill him. Then I book it out of there, leaving him and the Big Empty collars behind. Never again returning to this place. Back to the base game. I actually really enjoyed the story and characters and atmosphere of Dead Money. I just didn't like the gameplay so much. But now that I'm back to gameplay I like, what am I up to? Well, it's back to doing stuff for the NCR. They want House dead, so kaboom, I take him out. They want the Brotherhood of Steel dead? Well, not kaboom. They aren't happy that I managed to get the Brotherhood of Steel to be on our side, but I think it's better that way, and I even do convince them to cancel the lockdown. But I can't get them to do too much else like get new recruits, and Veronica has enough, and she chews them out.
We found a gun that disables power armor. One of these could defeat the whole Brotherhood. We have to stop limiting our focus to military technology. It won't save us.
That could be the only one of its kind.
That's not the point. Technology won't win our wars. We need numbers, new recruits.
What does the Codex say?
A bunch of closed-minded bullshit.
We do not help them or let them in.
But
we keep knowledge they must never have.
Give it a chance. For me. I can't stay here and watch us waste away.
I'm sorry.
We'll die out.
I know.
Come on. I can't listen to this anymore.
It really doesn't do anything, and she isn't sure whether she should leave them or not, and I tell her I will support her no matter what she chooses. Ultimately, she ends up choosing to stay with the Brotherhood because that's her family, even if they are dumbasses. And you know what else is dumb? I can't even tell her I found her girlfriend. It's not an option. I can't tell her that I can't give her the dress to put on. Why is my favorite companion so half-baked? But hey, we get the Brotherhood to join us, which actually makes our NCR superior upset. Who cares? Fuck her. I prefer unity over need this genocide. So, let's see what else happens. Well, I found the lottery guy again. He's just like out in the desert still being excited about living, and then he ran into a bunch of scorpions and died. I formed my own Brotherhood of Steel, featuring me, Veronica, and Boone. Boone's power armor is trash, though, because he doesn't have power armor training, but at least we are our own Brotherhood of Steel. I also saved President Kimball from assassination, which was fun to do, because in my Caesar playthrough, I killed President Kimball. Oh, and one time a dead body told me as they died that they have had worse. Well, let's head to our final DLC. The Lonesome Road is our final DLC, and it sees us travel through an area known as the Divide. We travel with a little robot of cuteness named Eddie, and we are in search of the courier we have heard so much about. Now, not only does he want us to come to him, but he keeps hijacking Eddie to talk through him. You basically just shoot everything in sight to solve tiny puzzles, and they're not really puzzles, they're just more like, you gotta figure out what to blow up so that your path will be clear. And every now and then the courier will hijack Eddie and tell you a bunch of vague nothings. Well, it turns out that this guy's name is Ulysses, and he has a huge grudge against us. See, he used to be part of Caesar's Legion, and he ended up finding the Divide, a place that he was like, wow, this is amazing. But apparently, a package that I delivered before the events of this game set off some bombs and blew this place up. And now he is pissed at me, and he thinks the best thing is to launch some nukes to destroy civilization and start over as a paradise. And he is going to fight me, mailman versus mailman. And let me say, I think he is an idiot. The way things are now are a result of bombing. You think bombing again is suddenly going to make things better? This fucker is dumb as fuck. Am I misunderstanding? All of this for this? What? I'm sorry, what? 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 Like, he's a fine boss fight, I guess, but his logic is just not logicking. He also is one of the best boss fights of Fallout, though. Unless you do what I did and just blast him so fast that all his little robots can't help him. You are left with a choice. The nuke he has is going to launch no matter what. You have to decide who it will hit. It can either hit the NCR, the Legion, or both. Or also Edie can stop it, but he will die. So I made my decision, and let me tell you, I made the wrong decision. In my defense, I had to go to work, so I was trying to wrap this up quickly so I wouldn't be late. But yeah, I chose wrong. See, I didn't want Eddie to die. Eddie was the cutest, sweetest, kindest robot ever. He didn't deserve to die. And the Legion are literal trash. So I said bomb the Legion. Here is why I now believe that answer was wrong. First off, the Legion has a ton of slaves. And those are innocent people who I just killed. Second off, Legion has children. These kids don't know any better. They grew up around this. I just killed a bunch of children. In short, I condemned a lot of innocent people to death when Eddie was willing to sacrifice himself. But yeah, that was Lonesome Road, a DLC that added backstory to a character that I don't think needed it. I honestly didn't like it. And you're mad at me for delivering a package? Bitch, I'm a mailman. You think I know what's in these packages, you fucking dumb shit? Anyway, back to the base game I go. Alright, time to wrap this up. It's the Battle of Hoover Dam time. It's time to fight Caesar's Legion and win this for the NCR. The battle was fierce, and one thing I really loved about it is all those allies I recruited are here. Seeing the bomber plane or the Brotherhood fighting by my side was really cool. The fight was neat, and I do think the NCR is the best choice. Well, actually, I think it's Yes Man, because then I'm in charge and I can set up things like... One of the first things I would do while being in charge is bring about the strongest leaders to help me if they will, and maybe even put them in charge instead of me. King from the Kings! He'd be a good leader. Julie Farkas of the Followers of Apocalypse, bring her up there to help lead as well. And Trudy, who we met in Good Springs. 3 right there. I could help put into, positions of power to try to start making this place better. But since the Yes Man option is a lie and apparently everything just goes to chaos, I do believe the NCR is the best option. Now, I will say there's plenty wrong with the NCR as well. There really is no good option. Each option has good and bad, except Caesar, which is just all bad. NCR is stretched too thin, and also have a very assimilative way of doing things, but I do think most people would benefit under them. But I am open to arguments against that. Anyway, we kick the ass of the final boss, who I don't know what I was talking about in my first playthrough where I said he was hard. Maybe it's just because I'm leveled so high now, but every time I fought him this year, I kicked his ass. I think this is a good Fallout game, one of the best. However, I apparently need to drive home the fact to Fallout fans that you can like more than one Fallout game, you stupid bitches. I like Fallout New Vegas, and 3, and 2, and 1, and even Tactics. I haven't played 4 yet, and Brotherhood of Steel isn't for me, but did you know you can like more than one Fallout game? 'Cause apparently a lot of you don't know that. I'm beyond sick of the hate and elitism of Fallout New Vegas fans. It's pathetic. You can like more than one Fallout. Stop being stupid. But yeah, I like this one. I think it's my second favorite. I think Fallout 2 is just a hard one to beat for me. There's too much I like about Fallout 2.